I did like how they explained most of the things, unlike most movies. But at the same time, there's a few things they don't explain or they just forget about. Um, so, who do we got? We got Eli. He smokes a lot. I didn't expect him to last long, but I actually did like his and Dwayne's sorta friendship. It was pretty cool. But when Eli gets killed, Dwayne doesn't even react. I thought he would have reacted a little bit because they were sort of becoming friends. He was the only person that was defending Dwayne. He was the only person that tried to help Dwayne. Everyone else just ganged up on Dwayne or treated him like crap. Speaking of treating people like crap, I do not like the main character. She is a manipulator. She's a cheater. She's just not the best person. But they just call her the Heartbreaker right there, as you can see on that card. Anyway, basically she says this herself, that she just hooked up with Dwayne so she would have an excuse to bring all these people here to piss off Dominic. She was just using Dwayne as a shield. And he wasn't an actual boyfriend, even though he's under that impression. He loves her, he defends her, he makes sure she's safe. When someone tries to take a weapon away from her, he yells at them. During the scene when he's giving people weapons, Eli wants the shovel, but he tells Eli can't have the shovel because not the shovel. He tells Eli that he can't have the knife because Lisa has to have the knife. So he truly cares about her. Guess how he gets repaid? He gets repaid by her making a mistake. She gets chased by the killer. She somehow survives. It's literally only for the plot purpose. Any other time someone's chased by the killer, they're either killed or assumed to be killed, and then we find out later that they're just seriously injured. Which they only decide to seriously injure people if it's relevant to the plot. Because any other time, he goes ham and kills them. He stabbed the fuck out of the foreigner. He decapitated Eli. He bashed in Rumor's face. But, just a few punches here and there for Marcus, just so we can have a person to survive later. And Sarah gets to survive because she gets shot in the face a bunch and somehow survives with the nail gun. Even though the killer himself thought she was dead. Though yes, Dwayne wasn't the best person. I was rooting for him the entire time until he just shot Sarah without hesitation. Though, back to how he gets repaid. When she's getting chased, she hits him with a branch. So she whispers to Marcus about how, oh, I hit him in the face with a branch. He has a mark on his face. So then they silently agree to murder him, and then they choke him to death. Well, then she starts having a panic attack while she's outside the car. And she's like, wait, I think I hit him in the arm. And he put his arm up. So she starts to think it's Marcus, since he's the only one alive that we know. But he kisses her. Problem solved. All self-doubt was done. Fucking stupid. fucking stupid. Anyway, I knew my 3 people. I either thought it was gonna be Dwayne, though he seemed way too obvious. But out of him, Marcus, and Lisa, I didn't think it was one of them. I thought it was Sarah. Because she just disappears for most of the movie. They don't care about her at all. Like, she gets locked in a room. Then we don't see her for 20 minutes. She's mentioned. And about how she's gonna go let her out of the room. They find out she escaped. She gets killed by Dwayne later. Then later she gets nails ripped out of her face so Lisa can load the gun. And then that's how they find out that she's still alive. Speaking of Lisa, everybody had a weapon. Rumor had a hacksaw. Eli had a shovel. Blah 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 blah. Like I already mentioned earlier, she had a knife. We never see her lose it or anything. She just doesn't have it anymore. So I thought that was weird. And I honestly felt bad for Rumor. Like, he's always felt like an outcast. He's always been a little weird. And he always gets in trouble for stuff he didn't do. His best friend said he would always be here for him, and what does he do? What does he do? He abandons him for a girl. Of course, he sort of feels bad about it later, but not really. It was believable in Until Dawn with Josh and Chris. Chris really showed a lot of emotion. But this dude was ready to frame him. I wouldn't have been surprised if he ended up turning out the killer. He wasn't one of my suspects. But the way the dude acted, come on. Like, they bring up how Rumor one time brought a knife to school. Because that's what Lisa does. She loves to blame people and talk about past mistakes. This was 7th grade, by the way. Oh, this actually made the killer kind of... Should have made me realize who the killer was. They say that in 7th grade, Donovic brought a knife to school. It was given to Rumor, and Rumor just got caught when he was holding it. And then he said, "Tell him, Marcus." And then Marcus was like, "Nah, come with us. We just want to talk." Because he thinks it's Rumor. That should have made it obvious that it was Dominic. But I actually thought it probably was Dominic. Because they would never say how he died. And we never really saw a gruesome part of his body. With Murkishi, we saw her get stabbed, or however you say her name, multiple times. Every time they talk about Kenji, they say he got strangled. But for Dominic, they're just like, oh, he must have saw their dead bodies and got killed when he went in there. So I was like, that's a bit suspicious. People have played dead in horror movies before. Scream 3. Or, let's not say a movie, let's say a horror game. Until Dawn, Josh plays dead. So, wasn't really a huge surprise. Because it was like, he was the least violent death, and they would never say how he died. They just said, oh, he died. It's like, come on. You give us a detailed explanation about everyone but the person that we thought was the main character for a little bit. Like, he owns the house, we see him for quite a bit. Then he just randomly dies off screen. Yeah, you're totally gonna fool me. It's not like there's, 50 other movies just like that. And I think it was a bit stupid that, Donomic's reason for killing people was he didn't get into Harvard. Though, in his messed up brain, since I brought up the knife thing earlier, I think that he clearly was mentally ill, so his brain is messed up. But I did think that a little bit of his brain actually made a little bit of sense. Like, it pretty much is her fault that everybody else died. It was just gonna be her and the other two guys, which it doesn't make it any better. That's still shitty and ridiculous that he's killing people just because they had a higher grade in Harvard. But it is her fault. She admits to manipulating him and bringing all these people here. That is her own fault that all of her friends got killed with her. Because she literally admits to being a manipulator just because she doesn't like her friend's rules. If she doesn't like her friend's rules, then why'd go to his house? It could have been her, Marcus, Rumor, though she's a bitch to Rumor, Eli, and everybody else, Sarah, all at a different house. She still would have had plenty of people. It just wouldn't have been him and the two foreigners, which nobody understood anyway. Besides, Donomic probably understood them a little bit, since he lived there with them. But no, she wanted to break his rules on bring people with her when she knew he did not want guests. But she lies and says, oh, I thought it would be okay, but later admits to knowing that he would not like it. So it's definitely her fault other people died. But instead, the way he blames her is definitely a bit weird. He's like, oh, you had to come in there, so I had to pretend to be dead. Like, you could have blamed her better. It's a decent movie, bit of overacting. Just like the killer, like I already said, Donomic just overacts a little bit. Gets a bit too into the role. And it just isn't that good. But I did like the movie.